Uh, Srishti, are we all set up with the things in terms of records, pictures, or even ready to go live?
I guess we are ready, Shradhha.
Okay, so let's wait for everyone to join us through the videos, and then we can start off. All right, and can you give me a heads up once we go live, or so that we are aware that we are going live in the next, say, few seconds or something?
Yeah, for sure. I said 3, 2, 1, and then
Right. So I guess we are just waiting for Aparnaa and Zaaria, I guess.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So all right, great. So would it be possible for like the initial, at least during the introduction time, if you can switch on your videos so that just during the introduction, at least if it's possible for you? Yeah, thank you so much. And great. And Zaaria, can I get a heads up from your end as well? All right, perfect, great. Yeah. Just to remind you that you are on mute. So if ever you want to speak anything, you need to unmute yourself and then speak. So just a reminder on that. Great. Okay. So Prakriti, I guess we are good to go. And just let me know when the countdown begins.
Okay. So now we'll be going live.
And by the way, thank you everyone who have joined us here. Great to see you all here. I cannot see a lot of you, but then thank you for joining us. And yeah, Prakriti, over to you. Let me know.
3, 2, 1.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, we're just going to the live.
It's live.
Yes, excited to be live now on Facebook. So let's wait for a couple of seconds and then start it off. Great. Anyways, hello everyone, and with great pleasure, I welcome all of you to this most awaited discussion that we were hoping to have this on the third day of Fuzia Creative Summit 2021. The reason why it is special is because one, we completed 9 years of our presence in the social media industry, and having been a community for over 9 years now. And this was the first time that we ever organized such a grand event for a 3-day virtual summit, just to celebrate 9 years of the impact, innovation, and leadership through Fuzia. I am glad and so much grateful to all of you who were so much supportive and helpful for us to be a part of it. Thank you, each one of you, for all the love and support that you gave us. Today is the final day, and what better can it be to close this 3-day summit with a grand panel discussion with some of the 6 eminent leaders in their own fields who are going to enlighten us through their piece of wisdom around leadership, especially if I would want to highlight, it would be youth leadership, something that is very relevant in today's scenario, especially in the post-pandemic scenario, where we look at the youth of today to drive a bigger change going forward. So welcome all of you, and I my heartiest welcome to all the panelists over here. Just to begin with, I would start with giving a quick backdrop of the theme of this discussion, followed with a quick introduction, and then we will start off our interaction on certain key areas and topics around youth and leadership. Does that sound good? Great. And for all of you who are watching us live on Facebook, do reshare it on your walls. Do feel free to put on your comments below any questions. So if we may have time, we may take up some of your questions as well. But just in case, keep sharing your likes and comments on the Facebook page below. So more than half of the world's population is under the age of 30. That's the youth that we have. But how many of us really get a chance to participate in all the opportunities that the society gives us? In fact, a lot of the youth in the society, they are marked as a group who are affected with either discrimination or lack of access to not only employment and education, but also to decision-making processes that define the course of their future. Young people, we all know that they have the energy and creativity and idealism to challenge the entrenched patterns of exclusion and should be at the forefront, in fact, of a global change and innovation. We all know that social media and new technologies are embedded in young people's lives, you and me, and that knowledge can be used to catalyze collective action. And therefore, youth is in central position to drive positive transformation, acting as key agents for development and peace. With this, I am immensely honored to have this opportunity to moderate this grand panel discussion around youth and leadership. I would like to give a quick introduction on our panelists today. Starting with, we have Mrs. Aparnaa Laxmi Singh. She is a Harvard Business School alumnus, a fellow of the Aspire Circle of Enlightened Social Leadership, influencer, a women innovator, and a content creator for YouTube channels Three Logs. She also runs an NGO to empower women. She is a registered cybercrime intervention officer and cybersecurity counselor. She's a POSH consultant, gender and inclusivity speaker, as well as an independent director with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Aparnaa, I am glad that you made it to the panel discussion. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Shradhha. Happy to be here. Happy to interact with the other panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next we have Dr. Ashish Mahendra. Dr. Ashish is a dedicated healthcare professional who gives all of his energy for passion. He's absolutely passionate and gives all of his energy to pursue his interests. He's renowned and most followed education counselor, a dental practitioner, a professor at the medical college, and a proud member of the Dental Council of India. Not just this, he is an avid traveler, a blogger, a motivational speaker, and an influencer with multiple national and international publications to his name. Dr. Ashish, I'm glad that you are a part of this panel, and we'll be looking forward to have your inputs towards this interaction.
Thanks everyone for inviting me on this panel and giving chances to view our opinion. And definitely today, hopefully it will be a very nice conversation and everyone is waiting and myself also excited. Let's see how it goes. Thanks.
Absolutely, absolutely. The next we have Zaaria Patni. Zaaria is a businesswoman, a single parent who not only fought for herself, but also all the minors and single parents who got held up for their rights. In fact, after an extremely abusive marriage, Zaaria left her husband when she was just 2 months pregnant. And for the next 6 years, she fought for the custody of her son, but her struggles didn't end there. She was a single parent in India and her son was denied the passport. She took the issue to the social media, addressing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and her efforts paid off when the issue became Annexure C for minors and single parents needing passports for their children. It became the landmark judgment for divorced and single parents in India. And Zaaria now uses social media to address undiscussed issues that women and people who have been abused suffer from. She's a source of inspiration for many women out there and help them address their issues while actively talking about her experiences. And Zaaria, it's my honor to have you here as a part of this panel.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm so sorry, I'm really unwell today, but thank you so much. And I'm so glad to be out here. And the good news is today I renewed my son's passport, and this time he's like, I don't want your ex-husband's name on my passport. So actually, I just got his passport, a new one without the father's name. So I'm pretty proud of this one more benchmark in my.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad.
No wonder you become the source of inspiration for many such women out there. And I'm glad that you were able to make it here.
I'm glad. I'm sorry. I'm down with viral fever since 3 days. So not myself, but I'm glad to be a
highly
part
aware
of
that
this.
you were able to make it up for this, Zaaria. So thank you so much. The next we have
with my medicines
Oh,
and
sorry.
everything.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you go ahead?
No, thank you. We can continue. We can continue with Rachitta. Yeah.
So going forward to this, we have Rachitta Juneja as a part of our panelists. Rachitta Juneja is the CEO and the founder of Wide, a machine learning and AI enthusiast. She graduated with a business degree and an alumnus of National School of Drama. Not just this, with a demonstrated history of working in media, advertising, and marketing, Rachitta started her entrepreneurial journey just at the age of 25. Her last stint was as the Chief Marketing Officer at Let's Track, Asia's largest IoT-based vehicle security brand, operating in the UK, India, Sri Lanka, and Nepal. She led the company from the front and was able to get a lot of recognitions, right from the 10th Graham Bell Award, curated by the Niti Aayog, Asia's 100 Greatest Brands 2019 in Asia, when Best Loyalty Program. And in the past 10 years of her journey, she was felicitated by awards including CMO of the Year 2019, Top 20 Inspirational Women in Business in India 2020, and Women in Excellence 2020. Rachitta, I am absolutely honored to have you here as a part of the panel.
Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me. Congrats on the summit to you, and love the selection of the panelists. Honored to be here with them.
Lovely. Looking forward to have this discussion going ahead. Likewise. The next we have one of our, oldest members and supporters, Michelle Mras. I'll say Michelle has always been a strong support to the Fuzia community, and I am more than happy and glad that she was able to make it for this panel discussion. To begin with, Michelle is an award-winning international TEDx speaker coach, an author, a podcast personality, and it's never ending. She's the co-host of Denim and Pearls podcast and the host of Mental Shift Show on the new channel TNC in the Philippines. She guides individuals and groups through the professional speaker process of core message development, signature talk craft to the framework of their multifaceted talks, stage presence, and delivery. Not just that, Michelle is a survivor of multiple life challenges, to include a traumatic brain surgery and a breast cancer. She guides others to recognize the innate gifts within them, stop apologizing for what they are not, and step into who they truly are unapologetically. So, Michelle, welcome to this panel discussion, and I'm more than happy and so glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I look forward to the discussion, and happy 9th year of Fuzia.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And finally, we have Shellye Archambeau, again, a strong support to the Fuzia community right from the beginning. Shellye has over 30 years of experience in technology leading organizations. She serves on the board of companies like Verizon and Nordstrom. She is the author of her book, Unapologetically Ambitious: Take Risks, Break Barriers, and Create Success on Your Own Terms, a book that will help professionals achieve their aspirations and create the life that they want. She is also a contributor to Forbes and has been featured in various publications, right from the Wall Street Journal to the New York Times and the Financial Times. Shellye, welcome to this panel discussion. You are on mute, by the way. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. Thank you very much for having me, Fuzia. I look forward to joining my esteemed panelists in this great conversation.
Totally excited to host and moderate this conversation that's going to be around youth and leadership. So before we just kick off with the questions, I just wanted to highlight that today our society is built on their ingenuity, and especially in the post-pandemic era, this is no exception. For young people, it's imperative to take this moment to learn from the leaders who have successfully navigated through their organizations through this crisis. And at the same time, it's the responsibility of current leaders to be the stewards of their growth, providing examples of successful leadership for the next generation. These will be the foundation for the growth and development of future leaders. And with this, I would like to kickstart with my first set of discussion topic.
Shradhha, before you start, I can see in the chat, there are a lot of people in the waiting room, if you could let them in.
Of course. Prakriti, could you just look into that? Yeah. Okay. So to begin with, let's start with, now that we have started with the post-pandemic topic of discussion, we know how it is important how important leadership is, especially in the post-pandemic era. So I would like my first question directed towards, Aparnaa Singh. And Aparnaa, I would like to have your thoughts on how we can make leadership, accessible to all. And firstly, how do you look at leadership and empathy today? How relevant it is today?
Thanks, Shradha. I think leadership is a learning process.
Aparnaa, you are not audible. No, you are not audible, Aparnaa. Could you just unmute and mute yourself? Mute and unmute, maybe.
Hello?
No.
From your end?
Yeah. Maybe there's a loose connection. Maybe you might want to readjust your microphones there. And maybe once you are done, maybe you can correct the connections over there by this. So what I can do is maybe I can shift this question to our other panelists to get their views on it. Right. So with this, maybe I can see Shellye, if you can probably share your thoughts on how do you look at leadership and empathy today, especially how relevant it is today, and what should people keep in mind while thinking about it?
Yeah, honestly, Shradhha, leadership and empathetic leadership in specific is more important today than ever. We have come through globally, right, a health crisis. In various regions, we've had many other crises and challenges also that we've dealt with, and employees are struggling. And therefore, as leaders, we need to make sure that we are empathetic and that we understand and can relate to the challenges, the needs, the mental health requirements that our employees have. So if we aren't paying attention to these things, then frankly, it's a lose-lose for everyone. The employee is not going to be in a situation in which they're going to be very effective, and therefore the performance in the job and for the company is not going to be very effective. But employees are reluctant to bring these issues forward. So leaders have to show empathy. We have to pay attention and inquire and show that we actually care about the whole person, right? Not just the work they deliver. and or the product they produce. So I think as we go forward, we'll actually see that managers who show true empathy, who take the time to truly understand the needs and the requirements of their employees, and then work to create the right support structures. Those will be the managers that employees will want to work for. And therefore, they'll be the managers that will be able to get, frankly, the best results from their teams. So it's really important that everyone focuses on how they strengthen their empathetic leadership.
Absolutely. I think this definitely makes sense. And with this, it brings my, it makes me more curious to know more about managing the post-pandemic stress that a lot of youngsters deal with, or not just youngsters. I think every individual has gone through it. But when we talk about youth leadership, I feel that the sense of anxiety, the sense of depression gets highlighted even more. And maybe this is where I would want to ask Michelle here, what is your piece of advice for the youth, especially dealing with the post-pandemic stress, anxiety that they face today?
My first advice is you're not alone. And see, that's the problem, is we all think it's only happening to me. I'm so miserable. I'm so alone. I'm so lost. And that's why empathy is so important, because empathy is that listening and understanding what the other person's feeling. And when we talk about leadership, like Shellye was saying, to understand, to be a leader and to be able to communicate, it also comes back to that the leader is able to be empathetic to themselves and be honest with the people around them. Because how can you lead if you're not listening? But if you're not listening to yourself, then what's the whole deal happen? I mean, there's no deal there. And what we do is we show by example as leaders. So if you're a youth and you're wondering what's going on out there and no one understands me, look at your leadership. And if you are leadership, I want you to do the same thing. Look at yourself. What are you advising, and are you taking that advice? Because if you are a leader with empathy, you need to be competent in what you're doing. You need to be able to connect with the people that are around you. You have to have good moral character. And then you also have to be able to communicate clearly. If you don't have those other four things, and then you're showing empathy, you're giving clashing signals. So they're looking at you doing, do they truly understand me, or are they faking it? And we as humans, we can feel it when something's not right. So if you're a leader out there and you're saying, I have empathy to my people, and you're a follower, an employee, and you're like, something's wrong with that. It's because there's a mesh that has to happen. Empathy comes from both sides, and you have to be honest with yourself when you're being empathetic. Did that answer your question?
Absolutely. I think it's all about, having an empathetic leadership and practicing compassionate leadership here, especially when it comes to our teams. And maybe I would definitely love to hear what are your thoughts on this, Rachitta, because you have been leading an organization, and that too at, you have been inspiring so many youngsters out there. I would definitely want to know your thoughts on how you have been managing through all this situation these days.
So I think empathy is not only vital for leadership and for companies, it's vital for life. Take Afghanistan, what we're seeing today in Afghanistan, for instance. What is lacking in the new leaders? Empathy, compassion, right? If they start caring about the welfare of others, this would not happen. So generally, if you've not walked in the other person's shoes, don't be so quick to judge. In fact, why judge at all? Bhagavad Gita says, those who cook for themselves eat poison. So if you want to be liberated, you want to think about the welfare, you have to think about the welfare of others. And that's how I started Wide. I don't know, a lot of people must not know about Wide. So if you today look at all the small and medium businesses, they are dying. This is pre-pandemic. Post-pandemic, they are now being wiped off completely. So if you look at the cab industry, they have to pay anywhere from 25 to 40% commissions. Then their expenses start. So they're not making any money. They're just working for the sake of it. If you look at the food delivery industry, again, commissions. If you look at e-commerce industry, when the brands are going directly to the consumers, how will the retailers make money if they don't have those sort of margins to play with? And just by empathy, we came up with Wide. So it's the first no commission subscription based mobile and web platform for individual and enterprises, which enables them to do business directly with the customers. And for the customers, it's a single app where they get to do ride, hire driver, food parcel, shopping, everything with no commissions, with no surge pricing.
Oh, that's actually wonderful. That's actually applied empathy in the real world, which is great. And definitely, I couldn't agree more how important it is today, how relevant it is today. Having talked about it, I would want to take one step ahead and talk about how has innovation and creativity become a part of leadership. And for this, I will love to have Aparnaa, if you are, if you would want to share your thoughts on how innovation and creativity becomes a part of leadership today and how relevant it is.
Yes. So you'd asked earlier what leadership means to me and what I would consider leadership to be. So leadership to me is a continuous journey. It's an experience. It's an empowering journey for each individual. And along the way, as we evolve, we empower others. So leadership is very pertinent because it's not just us. It's not in a vacuum that a person grows. When we grow, others with us, associated with us, also grow. And talking of innovation and creativity in leadership, so that is part of evolving. So we look to new developments and with new ideas coming along, with new relations that we build, and with a view to world economy, we need to innovate regarding leadership as well. So now leadership is not top down or bottoms up. Leadership is, especially in India, it's a mingling of ideas. It's taking ideas from people whom we work for or who are the target group. So we become creative when we look to the needs of the people. We innovate in view of the needs of the people. And that is where creativity also comes in. So innovation cannot happen if we are not creative. If we are close to ideas, if we are close to the needs of others, we cannot innovate, we cannot be creative, and of course, we cannot lead. So that's how I see all three intermingled, and one leads to the other, and the second leads to the third. So you cannot put any of these in silos. And in being an effective leader, a person needs to be innovative and put their ideas to how they could deliver what the clients need, what is the need of the hour, what the customers require.
Absolutely. And I think I'm in total sync to that, because it's ultimately what every customer, every person, individual will need to be aligned to this kind of a mindset. Dr. Ashish, now you being into the education sector, being an educator, I know that increasingly today, employers, educators, learners are coming to recognize the importance of leadership amongst individuals throughout an organization and not just in managerial roles. So how do you look at the importance of innovation, diversity in the leadership today?
Now the time what has changed, earlier it was like a hard work to get success or become a leader, but now it's not a hard work, it's a smart work. The more you are smart, the more success you can achieve. And now leadership is not like it was like orthodox, what you are doing bossing to someone, or it's a group work. If your team is good, and if every individual think himself is a leader, and if they work for a common goal, then only we can succeed. So the way to approach anything has been changed. And post pandemic, if we see that there is a lot of change in the work condition, we can see even education sector has changed a lot. From last year, I think most of the students are having online education. They haven't gone to the colleges, school. The things are changing. The business is changing. In fact, the whole world is changed if we see post pandemic. So we have to adapt because we are human beings, and very easily we can adapt with the situation. Definitely, it's a great challenge for us. But in this challenge, we have to search for the good opportunities, and definitely we all can overcome with this things, and we all can say, everyone who is listening us or who are present here, we all have succeeded the second wave when we are still all alive. So we should thanks to the God and have to be very positive, not to be COVID positive, but have to be positive in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree to this, Dr. Ashish. And since we are talking about leadership, I cannot stop myself from coming back to Shellye, asking about Shellye, hardly 8% of the world's CEOs at Fortune 500 companies are females. And when we talk about women entrepreneurship, do you think something is holding them back to lead such leadership positions?
Shradhha, it's really a shame when we look at frankly, the stunning lack of progress over the last couple of decades. So yes, do we see more women in positions? The answer is yes, we do. But when you think about how much time has passed, and you think about the fact that women actually garner more bachelor degrees, more master's degrees than men do. And yet, so we have more education, but we're still not breaking through. And there are a few things that are happening. One, it's not so much that women are definitely not holding themselves back. What's happening is they're not getting the opportunity. They're not given opportunities to compete for roles that will position them to take on those CEO jobs. It all starts with pipeline. We need to make sure that women are given opportunities to actually run businesses, run P&Ls before they get to the CEO spot. We have to encourage them, right? And encourage managers and leaders to create development plans that give them roles and jobs that put them in position to compete later on. What happens many times is people wait for women. They want to make sure they see them actually perform, and then they'll promote. Whereas studies show that they'll actually take more risks with men. If they think men have the capability, they'll give them the opportunity and take the risk to see if they can do it. Whereas they'll wait to see women actually demonstrate they can do it. So by definition, that slows them down. And then as it relates to runway, it takes them longer, therefore, to achieve the same types of levels. So we have to make sure that the paradigm shift is being made so that we're giving all people access to opportunity. That's what it is. None of us expects to be just given a job. What we do expect, though, is that we have the opportunity to effectively compete for a role and to compete for a job. And that starts with making sure within companies that there are actual development plans and opportunities being put forward. But there are other things that women can benefit from as well. Mentorship. Studies show a much higher percentage of men have mentors than women do. And studies also show that people with mentors tend to do better in their overall careers in terms of achieving their goals and aspirations. So it's a wide variety of elements that we need to make sure, right, that we're putting in place. So do women have the capability? Absolutely. We just need to make sure that they have the opportunity to actually compete, the opportunity to grow, and the opportunity to demonstrate what they're capable of.
And I couldn't agree more to this. And I feel that probably I would, and I'm curious to know what is Zaaria's thoughts on it, because, you have been a motivating factor for a lot of women out there. And what makes me even more curious is what kept you motivated all along, because this in itself is how you have demonstrated your leadership. So I would love to know your thoughts here, Zaaria.
So as my fellow speakers have spoken, Michelle, Aparnaa, Rachitta, Shellye, about empathy, I think empathy is the most important quality any leader should have, because only when you're empathetic do you understand what other people's needs are, and you can put their needs above yours. So for me, example, if I take my story, 15 years back, no one was empathetic towards single moms or being divorced, or no one even knew what an abusive marriage was. It was always like, oh, she must have done something, that is why her husband's left her. It's never asked that what did the husband do to her for her to take such an important step to leave her marital house along being 2 months pregnant. So I feel like currently our world, like if I take it, I was the first person to like go on social media and be like, hey, I'm a single parent and I need to get a passport for my son, and I need it without my ex-husband's name because I'm the person who's mentally, physically, emotionally, and financially taking care of my son. So how is it that somebody else who's not present in the in my current situation have so much power over me? So, and now 15 years later, I get messages and messages, and especially during the pandemic, the divorce has increased, the abuse has increased, the single parents have increased. I get messages from random people on my Instagram saying, can you please help us? How can we get my son's passport? How can we get my daughter's passport? Our husbands are not in the picture. So, like, too many things. And what kept me 100% motivated was like, I need to fight for what's right. I need to fight for what's the truth. And nothing beats the truth. If you can speak your truth out there and you can accept your truth, I guess you're like the biggest leader in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, this entire journey is, it's a story. It's a motivating story for each and every one of us who is listening to it. So no doubt. Since we are talking about leadership, and especially in the post-pandemic era, I would like to get all your thoughts, and maybe I'll start off with Michelle here, as to what are those, if there were some 2 or 3 major skill sets that we would want to look at the youth of today, what would you be considering which will be relevant for showcasing their leadership in the post-pandemic era?
Can you repeat that question again? What is the leadership skills?
What would be those important skill sets skill sets in the youth of today that will be important to imbibe within themselves to demonstrate leadership today?
It wouldn't just be for the youth, it's for everyone.
For everyone, right?
Leadership is leadership, and it's self-leadership and outward leadership. And it doesn't have to be for youth or for adults. And so that's where we need to remember, leadership is leadership. No matter what level you're at, it's leadership, and it's not separated by age, it's who you are. So as a leader, I would say 3 skill sets that you really want to build. And for those of you out there thinking, I'm not a leader, you are. Someone is looking at you and using you as an example, therefore you're a leader. So get that out of your mind, you are a leader. Now the 3 skill sets I believe in for a good leader is to have integrity. If you have no integrity, I don't care about your empathy. So integrity is number 1 for me. And then number 2 is you need to be competent in whatever you're doing. If you're out there and you say you're a leader, or you don't say you're a leader and people are watching you, and you aren't competent in the things you're leading people in, don't be the leader. Step back, let someone else do it. Because if you have no integrity and you're not competent in what you're doing, you're leading improperly. You're leading people in the wrong direction. And then another skill set to build is build your character. I mean, when people are looking out saying, I'm looking to be a great leader. Well, look, they're out there. What do you like? Repeat it. What do you not like? Don't repeat it. Encompass into yourself what you like in a leader. My background is I've built myself through my schools and all my training and everything, not by just studying and taking it all in and saying, okay, that's all fact. No, I took it in and said, I like that. I don't like that. I like that. I don't like that. And I put those things into me, into my character, into who I am and how I lead. We all have different levels of what we like and what we don't like. So incorporate what you like, because what's amazing and what's beautiful about the world is bringing in your special quality, what you are unique in, and then bringing in the things that you like together. That makes you a unique leader. It makes you a unique human. You are unique. So stop looking outside and trying to be exactly like one person. Be you, incorporate what you like. So those 3, integrity, competency, and build your character and be the best leader you can be.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And Dr. Ashish, you being, a coach for so many students, an educator, what are those few skill sets that you look at your students, or what you preach to your students that you look out for?
See, like we as a human, we have a lot of powers, but what I think from professional power, it is more important is your personal power. Actually, you can be a son of a leader. It's definitely, it's not necessary you will be a successful leader. But say if you are a personal, your so personal power is strong, definitely you can lead the society. So that is the key part. Secondly, what we should learn in a society, that doesn't matter from which culture you are coming, which religion you are follow, we have to respect everyone. We have to, because everyone have their different way of grooming and they have different ideas. So we should get all the ideas from all the parts, and then we can say no one is actually perfect, and even we are learning every day. So if we feel, if we get satisfied easily, yes, we have achieved something, so that time that means we are going down. So every time we have to be little bit unsatisfied and keep on working for our progress, and that is only possible when we keep on learning from everyone. Like here in this panel, I am getting a lot of ideas from those they are sharing their experience, I am sharing my experience. This is what the life is. We have to learn and respect everyone so that we can collectively gain more knowledge every day.
Absolutely. And, since we were talking about leadership, I would also want to know, Rachita, your views here as to what skills do you think will be the key for, the young leaders out there who are listening to us?
I think dreaming big not only for yourself but for others, and then having unwavering faith in your dreams, having the right mindset. You might not know all the answers. You pass on that worry to the universe. The universe will find it for you. Reading good things and then applying that knowledge, because we all know what is good for us, but we don't apply it. So knowledge is just, they say potential power. Action is the real power. And knowing whatever happens for the best. So if it happens, good. If it doesn't, better. And then the third would be consistency, discipline. Not every day is the same, so you have to have good habits, and you'll have to rely on your discipline and consistency. In fact, leadership is consistency. You can't do one good thing and think that you are a leader. You have to do it over and over again. And yeah, I've these are the three things. And bonus is gratitude. I think that's very important. Just be thankful for whatever is happening. The situation is good, bad, ugly. Be thankful, and things will happen in your favor.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more how much gratitude is important in today's era. And quickly, I would want to just go to Zaaria, because I know that you're not keeping well, Zaaria, and maybe you might want to give a closing note here, because I do understand your condition, and then you can just, give your closing note, and then we can continue after that.
I feel like I agree with all the speakers when it comes to empathy and gratitude. Every leader, I think, should possess these two qualities, which is empathy and gratitude, and also resilience. I feel like we all need to be very resilient within ourselves, just because, like, for example, the pandemic, like, it's caused destruction everywhere. And if we as leaders are not level-headed and strong, that no, we will be back and give people who are working with us, or we are on top of the team, the power that we will be back, we will be fine, whether it's our mental health or emotional health, we have to be back, because this is just for this few months. It's not going to be forever, right? We can't let a few bad days get into us and then destroy our future. So I feel like resilience is one more thing which every leader should possess, and also speak about it, as well as gratitude. We need to be very grateful for wherever we are, and we need to talk about it more, that wherever we are, wherever we are, we should be grateful and also humble. We have to be humble as people. No matter how far you go in life, you have to be humble enough that people should look up to us and be like, I want to be like them. I want to be a leader like her, like him, that she's so humble or he's so humble, no matter how far we have gone in life.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Zaaria.
Thank you
I
so much
understand.
for having me.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you were able to take out your valuable time, even being in this situation. So
Thank you so much. It was lovely being here, and it was lovely hearing all of y'all. But I'll take a leave now as I can't continue. Thank you so much, Shradhha and Michelle and Shellye, Dr. Ashish, Aparnaa, Rachitta. It was lovely meeting y'all and hearing all your views on leadership. Love to connect with you offline at some point.
Yeah.
And take care and stay safe.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Great.
Okay.
So let me come to Aparnaa here now. Since we're talking about leadership, what are your thoughts on some of the key skill sets and key areas which you look at the youngsters today? And what are your thoughts, especially, not just being in the post-pandemic situation, but also in a digital world where now social media, online spaces, so much vast. What are those kind of skill sets that you look at? You need to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe a good leader places service above self. That's the first thing. Are you able to hear?
You're not audible clearly. Could you just increase the volume?
A good leader, I feel, needs to place service above
No,
self.
I guess there is some connection issue in terms of.
Any better?
No, actually the volume is very low.
I can't tell you now.
Yeah, but no worries. Maybe you can drop it down in the chats, and I can take it here and tell it to the audience.
Let's say, or take off your headset and use your computer mic, because I can hear you, which means it's picking up something. So take off the mic and let your computer. Does that work?
Yeah, any better?
Maybe you can use the normal microphone of your computer. Don't use the headset.
Yeah. So I believe service above self is most important.
Service above self, she said.
Yeah. But anyways, I do get what you're saying, and maybe Aparnaa, if you would want to write it down in the chat below, I would communicate it to the audience over here. So yes, so we have spoken about empathy, how personal resilience is important, the ability to maybe communicate effectively, as per my opinion, and maybe the decision making ability to thrive the complex future. We don't know what the future holds for us. Having said that, I would definitely also want to cover an aspect about overcoming failures or managing crisis, because life is so unpredictable, situations are unpredictable, and we need to be prepared for everything. And when it comes about overcoming failures or managing a particular crisis, I would definitely want to start off with hearing your thoughts, Shellye, and then maybe Michelle, Rachitta, we could continue from there.
When you're facing a crisis, leadership is never more important. So the first piece is to understand what is actually driving the crisis. So as a leader, you don't want to react to the first set of information you get or the first perspective that you have, but you need to take the time to truly understand what is happening here. So what is the macro? What is the micro? And then understand, how does it affect your company, your team, the individuals, your customers, right, et cetera. And then based upon that, be able to determine what the right course of action is. So assess first, right? Then think, evaluate. You want to do all these things before you actually act. And then as you begin to act, clarity is critical for a leader, because you want to make sure that the team and the customers and the suppliers, right, everyone that's involved from a stakeholder standpoint, that they're clear to understand what is actually going on. How does this affect them? What is it you're doing to actually work through all of this? But clarity is so important, because when you're in the middle of a crisis, people's fears go wild. And when that happens, they create their own reality and their own assessment of what's happening, whether it's accurate or not accurate. So if you're not actually filling this space with your communications, with your perspective, sharing what's happening, what's going on, how this affects them, then they're going to do it for you. And that's never, never productive. So whenever you're in the middle of a crisis, you have to understand what's going on, how does it impact all the key stakeholders, figure out a game plan, but make sure that you're communicating all along the way. Don't wait till you have that all figured out and then communicate, because it takes time. And meanwhile, everyone will have been very concerned, very scared. Odds are not very productive, right? It's not good for their mental health, all of it. So it's perfectly fine as a leader to show your vulnerability. Okay, X is happening. We don't know what this means yet, but here's the steps we're taking to understand the implications, right? Here's what we're going to do next, and then report back. Here's what we've done. Here's what we know. Here's the next step. All the way through, you want to make sure that you're communicating clearly so that the whole team is coming along with you along this journey and feels that they're part of it together. Because frankly, strength is in the team. Strength is in the team being able to execute and work together. And so if you take that plan of action and combine everything you just heard on what's required of leadership, then you're going to be in a pretty good shape to actually work through the crisis.
Absolutely. In fact, organizations now realize that they need to develop leaders who can effectively respond to constantly evolving threats and opportunities while charting a path to sustainable growth. And that's why it's very important. And Michelle, maybe you can start off with that.
I'm the queen of this. Now, let me talk from the self-leadership point of view. From self-leadership, you can actually expand it to business, to your business, anything. And my background's in quality systems management. So I look at the big picture and pull things apart. I want you to write down something, SWOT. I love to use it because it's a good reminder, SWOT. Have you heard of a SWOT analysis? Let's apply it to your life. Why wait till the business world, right? Go to your life. What are your strengths? Write them all down. What are your weaknesses? Now, wait, let me say about the strengths. Write down the strengths that people tell you you have and the ones you know, because we downplay our strengths all the time. So strengths, what people have told you and what you know. Then your weaknesses, write down the weaknesses that you see in yourself. And then I want you to ask yourself a second question on that. Are they truly weaknesses, or are they just what makes you different? We're very hard on ourselves. That's why I'm saying this. So strengths, weaknesses, opportunities. What about you helps you that will make you make it through a crisis? Like if you ever watch me, if you ever go to my website, michellemorass.com, if you watch any of my YouTube videos, I've gone through many crises. I've gone through some crazy things when I was in college. I've been beaten, I've been raped, I've been captive. I mean, I've gone through a brain injury where I lost all of my education. I've lost 4 pieces of my brain, and I had to reinvent myself. If someone doesn't know crisis, send them my way. And then during that whole recovery of my brain injury, I found out I had breast cancer. And according to the breast cancer that I had, I wasn't going to live more than 3 months after my diagnosis. Talk about crisis mode, right? So strengths, I had to write them down because I had to remember who I was. Weaknesses, I had to see what weaknesses did I have that I could fix. Opportunities, what could I do to make my situation better so it wouldn't be such a crisis? And then threats, as Shellye said, look out, see what could happen. Propose, A/B test, look out there and do what could happen. And if that happened, what would I do? It's like every math problem, right? It's if-then statements. If this happens, then I'll do this. If this happens, then I can do this. So write down SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Because when crisis mode happens, you need to know what's in your toolbox. What can you use to overcome whatever that crisis is? If you can do it in your life, in your personal life, you can apply it to any business that you are ever in. So when something like COVID hit the entire world, those of us who had a list of, we knew what our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats were. So when things hit, all we did was, okay, well, now I'm going to use this plan. Oh, okay, now that happened. Now I'm going to use this plan. So a very important tool for all of you who are listening is write down your SWOT, your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. That way you're prepared for whatever is coming your way. It will help you not be in crisis mode when crisis actually hits.
And I'm never wrong to say that, Michelle, you are the one who radiates positivity always whenever I have a conversation with you. And I'm sure that our audience today would be feeling that as well. Absolutely. With that, Rachitta, I'm over to you in terms of...
Unfair to make me speak after Shellye and Michelle, but everything they said, not moved right to response or recovery. and work on mitigating and preparedness first. Periodical reviews with your team of what can go wrong is also very important. So, working on a business continuity plan. How do you evolve from this? Acknowledging and managing the stress of the stakeholders. And more importantly, I think a good leader should know how to preempt crisis. Of course, you can't preempt a crisis like COVID, but there are a lot of crises that you can preempt. In fact, in I learned in Chinese, the word crisis is a combination of two characters. It means opportunity and danger. So wherever there is danger, there's also opportunity. So just knowing that this will pass too, and choosing to look at the silver lining. And I feel if you look hard enough, you will definitely find it. So it's never about what cards you're dealt with. It's how you play those cards. It's not the crisis, it's how you react to the crisis.
Absolutely. It's definitely how you react to the crisis. And definitely, I'll say that the heartening news is that the pandemic doesn't need to be seen as a threat, but an opportunity. As the smartest leaders will eventually come to see COVID-19 as a case study for all the things that they did right to face the global disruption. So that's one thing I can surely highlight. Dr. Ashish, what are your thoughts when it comes to, especially from a student's perspective, what you have observed? Because I'm sure that the education system was also kind of disrupted, and it was a shock to a lot of students when the face-to-face classrooms structure was shifted to the virtual classrooms. I would want to know your thoughts on this.
What I personally feel, students have become more lazy. And if you see the history, first time in history, class 12 student and 10th were awarded very nice marks without giving any exam. So this was some dream which came true, and in history, and even when we were a student, so we now senior student calling us. So why was not COVID at our time? See, the students are getting more than 90% marks. In 10th they got 60%, and in 12th they are getting 90 plus. So that is what I think, that is a great opportunity, and they should thank Chinese president for same, all the student of 12th particularly, because this has been, and they has become lazy. We are taking online classes, Zoom meeting. Most of them are parallelly playing games and things, and they are just they just unmute and they will put their video off. So I think practically somewhere our youth are getting, what I personally think is they are getting little bit spoiled, and this should come to an end, and we should go for offline only. That was only needed. That was because second wave was there, so we have no other option left. But now if the things improve, we should go back to offline only.
Now here I see a different perspective of rooting for offline classes. Aparna, is your microphone fine, or should I?
It should be. Are you
Yes.
able to hear?
Yes.
Yeah. So I wrote in the chat. I wrote my views in the chat.
We can hear you now.
Yes. But we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah.
But would you want to share your thoughts, like quickly summarizing your chat, what you said?
Yes. So skill sets for youth today. Most important, I think, being true to oneself and service above self, placing service above self, and taking initiatives when there is a crisis. It's a mark of a leader to take they take initiatives when there is a crisis. They don't need to be told that this is the requirement and now you need to do this. That's a mark of a leader. And that is in response to the stimulus, that is in response to the crisis or the problem. So that is the mark of a great leader. And apart from that, leaders are those who give credit. And whenever there's a failure, the leader takes responsibility. So giving credit to the team is very, very important for the holistic bonding of the team, and for the confidence of the team, and for greater progress.
Okay, I think this definitely makes sense. And I'm sure that all of the people who are hearing us, listening to us, would definitely relate to it. with this, I would like to come to the conclusion of this discussion, because we are already like almost the time that we have spent. And to be honest, it never felt like that we have actually overboarded the time that we were actually having. But I must say that it was such an insightful conversation, interaction, knowing your perspectives on empathy, youth leadership, empathetic leadership to be precise, and then overcoming failures, because ultimately this is what will keep us going. This is what will keep us motivated all along. I sincerely thank our panelists for sharing your valuable thoughts, sharing your valuable piece of advice, and enlightening our audience with their leadership skill sets or leadership outlook that they should be keeping during this post-pandemic situation. I'm glad that you all were able to make up to this panel discussion today. And thank you so much for giving us your valuable time and support.
Thank you very much.
We have to take a picture.
Yes, we will take a picture.
Yeah.
Everyone turn on your camera.
So can I please request everyone to switch on their camera just for 10 seconds? We'll take a group photograph.
And maybe we can stop the live, or how's it? Should we sign off from the Facebook live session?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.
Yes. And yeah, it will be great to have a picture. I request each one of you to please switch on your cameras. Great. And I hope that the questions that were coming from our audience right now who is present, I hope that we were able to address them.
You can take a screenshot.
Yes, I was about to do both.
Yeah, yes. Done. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye everybody.
Thank you for having us. Have a great weekend, all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Be safe. Be safe. Bye.
Absolutely.
Good job, Shradha and team.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And I'm so happy that we were able to touch bases again. Yeah.
Me too. I'm glad. Glad you guys are all doing so well in Fuzia too. I'm so proud and excited for the growth.
Keep supporting us, and I'll also stay in touch with you separately.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Dr. Ashish and Aparnaa, for being here.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
And guys, for all the audience who have joined us here, you were a lovely audience. So, thank you so much for your support. And Prakriti, Srishti, and everyone whom I can see, I guess, Swati, Nishat, Priya, Kusum, thank you so much for being here.
You were so amazing, Shradha. You were so amazing throughout the session.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations to everyone.
And yes, to have these often, and let's keep more of such sessions.
You look stunning.
Sorry, what?
You look stunning today, and your energy was awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Lovely summit, and congratulations on the summit.
Thank you so much. And congratulations for being a part of our since so many years. You have been one Fuzia.
It feels pride, it feels pride to be a part of your family, now I can't ignore any of your messages, nor I can miss these kind of wonderful sessions, so knowledgeable. Thank you.
Happy, and we look forward to bringing more of such sessions for you.
Definitely.
And Srishti, thank you so much, Prakriti, for your support, Sarita, Priya, Manu, everyone who has had the time to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shradha. Guys, bye.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.